Hey, what's up? It's Valar. Hope everybody is doing awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in again. My friend Aurelius has been kind enough to let me use his account again because he actually pulled somebody that nobody was really targeting this past weekend. He pulled a couple Void shards, and he got a really cool Void Epic. So the Void Epic we are talking about is the new Ursala the Mourner. We're going to look over her skills. We're going to look over her masteries. We're going to look over the artifacts. And we're going to run her a bunch of different content because he actually said she is pretty cool. Her kit's pretty unique. And again, one of these new champions that I feel like they're doing a good job with. So without further ado, let's do it. All right, so bunch of different things to kind of showcase here. But first, let's just look at the build he's got on her. We'll go over that very first so you can see that. So 219 speed, 62,000 HP, 2,300 attack, 22,000 defense. She's more of a support champion, obviously. So damage and crit, not going to matter. She's not really a damage dealer. And he does try to build for 300 accuracy plus 300 resistance if he can. So you can kind of resist some debuffs, but also have the capability of placing debuffs. And now, I'm not a great arena player by any means, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I am. But he's not really using her in arena. And on top end of arena, you have to have ridiculous amounts of accuracy, 700 plus type accuracy. But this is actually kind of more of your general content build that's going to help the population of players out, right? So, and not all the gear is going to be maxed on here, but he is using some of these effect amulets and stuff that have, like, this is, what is this thing called? I forgot what this one's called. Cleansing. 8% chance to remove one random debuff each turn on an accuracy banner that's not even fully rolled up yet. And then we've got this refresh amulet, 5% chance to prevent a skill cooldown. And somebody had asked me in the video before, where do you get these things? You got to be in silver in 3v3 arena. So if you're not in silver in 3v3 arena, there is a reason to push for silver in 3v3 arena because you get these. Once you get to gold, you get the higher star amounts of these. So you really want to do, you can buy 2 of these pieces a day. So for newer players, that's where you get these. Defense, HP, defense. And it's an 8% chance to remove one random debuff because he's using 2 cleansing. He's going to get a 16% chance, I want to say. Maybe it's a 12% chance. I think it's 16 actually. I think it goes up to 8% each time. So it looks like he stacked her with 4 pieces of Immortal and 2 pieces of Perception gear here. We got the Speed Boots with accuracy, resistance. We've got a Resistance chest piece to pump that resistance with accuracy, HP, crit rate. We got HP gloves with a decent amount of speed, accuracy on there as well. We've got a shield with some HP and speed. We've got a helmet with defense, crit damage, speed, HP. And we've got a weapon with attack, accuracy, and speed, and a little bit of resistance too. Now let's look at what she does. And just so you can see, she is not fully booked yet. He did tell me he would fully book her if he had the resources to do it, which this may be an issue for a lot of players now. These champions are great, but they take a boatload of books, right? So they really should, and actually Aurelius had a great idea, that make it a flat amount across rare, legendary, and epics, but a lower amount. Say like rares need 9 books to max out, epics need 10 books, and then legendaries need like 12, and everybody has the same thing as far as that goes. Not one with 9 and one with 18 books like Pixneal or whatever. So anyway, I digress a little bit there, but let's actually go over her skills. Attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. It's a small chance, so a little bit of turn meter reduction, that's not going to be so wonderful. I mean, Armiger does 30%, right? So this is okay. It's just kind of like an extra, let's make our A1 do a little bit of something, right? AoE, decreased attack that you can book up to 100% chance if you get the books on her for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown if it's booked, and also places increased attack. So it does decrease attack plus increased attack buff on your team for 2 turns. Pretty cool there. And then this Requiem revives all dead allies with 75% HP then fills their turn meter by 50%. Also places increased defense buff and 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 3 turns. So if she is cycling this thing, so this is actually my first run through with her too. I'm recording the first run through on a 5-turn cooldown when booked. So obviously he landed the 1 book in that, got and kind of left it at that, it seems like, right? So if she's doing the increased defense and strengthen, that is huge for damage mitigation, right? And then she has a speed, aura, bat, and doom tower battles by 24%. So pretty nice to run her in the speed lead for doom tower if you want to get yourself sped up a little bit. How many books does she take? She's got 5 right here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14 books. All right. That's a lot, but that's not as many as some of the other ones account. Now, actually, 14 is a lot, right? But it is a lot. They're starting to, rewire our brains to think 14, 15 is just normal. It's like the sticker shock you see when like gasoline is like $4.50 a gallon, but then after a year you're like, oh, well, that's what the gas costs, right? So all right, let's actually see how he's got her built. And again, with I think it's the turn meter cycling that you really want from her, and she has the revive, right? And she does do the heal right there with 75% HP, so I'm not really sure that healing masteries would affect her because of that, though. I don't think they do, actually. It's not doing any active healing. It's just a flat amount of 75% HP when she revives. So he put her on the accuracy tree, on the support tree, but you want her to go as often as possible, I think, for the damage mitigation and keep her turn meter going, too. So that's why you've got these abilities here. And then the lasting gifts for the increased defense and the strengthen. And then if she has dead allies and she is trying to revive your team, you want her to go quicker because she will have the res come up quicker. So the res and damage mitigation is kind of her big story, I want to say. Increases its champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally hero drops play 25%. Timely intervention. On your support champions, this is one of the best masteries you can get, especially if you're depending on them for healing and resurrection, really, because it just cycles through where if your team's taking a lot of damage, this is going to actually enhance their chance to go more often. And then same thing here with the 50% chance of increasing turn meter. What else has he got on here? So, extra resistance, delayed death stuff. The rest of the stuff is like, okay, removing buffs, removing debuffs, decreasing damage depending on the debuffs. A lot of this is like, okay, on the defense tree, but really your main thing is get the cycle of revenge, to cycle through the turn meter more and kind of get that. There's actually some key things I wanted to kind of go over here too. HP, defense, and speed was kind of his main priorities here. The A3 is actually used as a buff, so she will cycle through this. Similar to when I did the Ugo video, which I'll link right here as well too, where she does the res, she's doing the heals in that one. This one is going to do the increased defense and the strengthen as well, because you're going to get utility out of this. And then he said there's no healing on her, right? Kind of what I alluded to a minute ago. You do need to run her, or to get the max value, run her with a healer, an apothecary, a Sathalia, something like that, where she gets that. Plus, you can actually get some extra synergies running her with like Duchess. If you get the block debuffs going up, maybe even like I'm thinking of Hackhorn Smash Lord as the block debuffs with the cleanse and stuff like that too. I was just kind of thinking of that. You may not run it with that, but extra damage mitigation too, so they can't get debuffed. Their defense is higher, and they're taking incoming less damage with the strengthen too. So pretty good there too. And his recommendations, I'm going with Aurelius's ideas here because this is, like I said, my first test with her too. But shield, speed, stalwart, or even resistance gear would be good on her. I kind of think, speed, stacking HP if we're going to get shield sets and resistance, that type of stuff makes sense, right? So we're actually going to showcase her in some content. Okay, we're going to showcase her a little bit in Golem first because as of right now, the Bannerlord's Crypt is not open, and she would absolutely shine in Faction Wars too, of course. A lot of these champions would, a lot of these support champions, and they're huge to get you through Faction Wars content. So we're going to use an entire Bannerlords team right here that Aurelius has to go through Golem. I may not show you the whole run because I don't think it's going to be super fast, but you got the healing, got the decreased defense and everything too. So let's just go for it. This is actually my first time viewing it, so I'm going right on camera to see how it works here. So It's we got the decreased turn meters there. There's the strength and the increased defense. So that's pretty cool, actually. Now, it may take a little while for us to get through this because we don't have a mass amount of damage on the waves right here where we can clear things down with big nukes and things like that. So maybe, I don't think it'll be that bad, like a minute or something like that. We're getting through in 30 seconds here. I'd be interested to see what happens on the second wave. He did say she's A+ in Ice Golem. So I'm going to run her in 2 different teams in Golem. I'm going to run her in this Bannerlords team, which I want to see how that does. Just to kind of give you the synergies with how a full Bannerlords team could work in Faction Crypts, even though it's not open right now. We're running a Bannerlords team in Ice Golem, right? So we're actually chopping through here pretty nicely without much trouble so far. So let's slow it down a little bit to see what she does here. Okay, this is just the damage. Obviously there's no crit or anything on her, so she's not going to pump out that much damage. Once her turn meter comes back around, and it looks like we may lose Richtof there. So this actually is probably a good thing. And she's off her abilities. If he dies... Oh, we got some healing and stuff there too. So, okay, we're okay. I think at the Golem we may actually have a little bit more trouble. This isn't as bad as I thought it would be as far as the time goes, too. With this team, it's actually pretty good. So, come on now. Maybe this will just be a couple minutes, this run, actually. And then I'll run him in his more traditional setup for Golem that he has running with her. Okay, so here on the boss, this may be... Okay, so there's the strength, and again, with the increased defense. Now, the Ice Golem, when the ads are up, does ignore 100% defense, too, so that's the big thing that actually makes it so he's got... or 50% defense for each alive ally. So if he has both of them up, he's ignoring defense when he does the slam. So the increased defense doesn't matter, but the strengthen does, because that's just pure damage mitigation reduction by 25%. So that part's pretty good. This team's actually quite good. Haven't seen her need to use the res yet, but more utility than just the res. It's sort of like the res is actually like the backup in case you need it type of thing, right? Nobody's died yet from what I saw, unless I missed it. Richtof might have there a second ago. But that damage mitigation is absolutely huge. The other thing she does, too, is it's not just that, right? She's doing the decrease attack and then an AoE increase attack, too. So it's an AoE decrease attack with an AoE increase attack for your team. That is huge, right? And then she's mitigating damage, right? So she really is kind of the damage mitigation queen in the fact she's dropping what the dungeon mobs or the dungeon boss will do by 50% because it's the higher version of decrease attack. She's then buffing your team to go to increase their damage by 50%. And then she's actually increasing your defense by 60% and also decreasing your incoming damage by 25%. So when you think about those 4 things paired together, that's a really good synergistic kit. So for the supports they've built with her and with Ugo, I'm actually quite impressed. 3 minutes and 42 seconds. It was a little bit slow at the boss level there, but 120,000 heals. Really, the main thing there was I might have missed it. Richtof didn't seem to die to me, actually, and Cythalia had the healing. So we had some healing in there, which was actually huge. And she came in here and just did all the damage mitigation we could ask for, right? So we're going to run it in one more team, which I'm not going to sit through the whole wave with. But we'll run it in one more team with her. I want this to be as full and comprehensive on her as I possibly can make it, because I really think that you want to kind of dissect what each champion can do if you're going to take a look at them. All right, here's the team we're going to run with the Turvold, Apothecary for the heals, Royal Guard for the slams, decreased defense and weaken and everything as well. So we'll kind of go through it. I will probably most likely just actually go through here and we'll watch the first wave a little bit. She put the strengthen up. She put the buffs up, right? And then we're slamming everybody down. So we're doing pretty good. I'm actually just going to go until we get to... Okay, we actually lost our Apothecary to reflect damage. So I wanted to bring it in here. So, not Apothecary. Jeez. we lost our Royal Guard to the reflect damage. That's because he did his slam, and then the reflect damage was up. So I want to see the res here when she cycles that here in a minute or two. But the damage mitigation actually is pretty huge. Before that came up, there we go, and then it puts the strength and everything on. So that's really cool, too, the fact that that's another cool resurrection ability. So how I'm comparing it to how Ugo is, because I see the utilities are somewhat similar, although she's more of a debuffer, and this one's more of a buff damage mitigation queen, right? The way that she works is you get the resurrection, and you're getting, increased defense and strengthen on you when you get res with 75% HP. So that's actually huge. I mean, that's actually pretty good. It's really good. Like if she was the last one standing too, she would kind of res to do that, right? It's pretty cool. All right, we got through that in about 2 minutes and 11 seconds, so pretty cool. Says she had 101,000 heals. The heal, not that big, right? The res is clutch. The damage mitigation is absolutely clutch. On some of the waves there, they were taking so much less damage. It was really good. And then we're going to go through. We're going to keep showing her as much as I possibly can. Spider, maybe we wouldn't use her there. You could probably find a way to use her in arena. And maybe if you had a super high resistance build and it was all about damage mitigation, that's kind of where I could see it working. The decreased attack would be good, and the increased attack, maybe in arena, maybe if I was going to use an arena, I was just kind of thinking I would use a super high resistance build on her, like a 900 resistance build if you can get it on her, which is absolutely insane, right? But you could do that, and then you mitigate damage too. That could be very good, actually, in arena, now that I think about it. But you're not going to worry about her debuffing with the decreased attack at that point. It's more about the increased attack and her abilities to kind of enhance your defense. So with a full defense, very high resistance team, she might be very good. But that's for the end game players, like really end game players. Most people don't have the capability of doing that stuff. But I mention it in case you do. Go for it, right? Now we're going to showcase her in Dragon. I'll probably showcase her in Fire Knight as well. And if we can, maybe look at her in Doom Tower. Because I do think she can shine there as well. So really these supports are kind of very good, very unique. And the fact is, like, I was kind of just thinking that too. Like, Arbiter does the attack up and does the turn meter fills and stuff too. She fills a different role too, where maybe actually in arena, a defensive-based team for her would be really cool. I might be, out of my mind, but I don't think so, right? So I'm not saying I can build that. It's just an idea, right? I don't even think I would have the gear to build that good of a team with that high resistance. But this is probably about a minute run right here. I am thoroughly impressed with these new champions. And I'm going to have another two new champion guides coming out this week too. So be on the lookout for those. These new champions are... I never thought I would actually be excited for new champions in Raid because I feel like it was diluting the pool. Now, the thing I don't like is actually how much books these champions take. So that part kind of sucks, right? But for the most part, all of these new champions have some pretty damn good utility. So I have to say, it seems like they're definitely not perfect, but it seems like they've improved their design on what champions can do and made new champions sort of worth it, right? Sort of worth like, hey, there's some stuff here that wasn't in the game before, didn't quite exist the same way with these champions. So they're a bit of an improvement upon things that already exist, or they're things you can think about synergies, kind of like I was just theory crafting out loud right there. But but really kind of cool. A little bit longer than a minute right now, but that's all right. We kind of chopped through that fairly easily, but the damage mitigation was huge again. So you're not necessarily seeing what she does besides making your team survive better, because you can bring in a bunch of squishies and she will do quite well with a bunch of squishies, basically, right? Because your squishies are going to take less damage. I mean, I keep saying it over and over. But we're going to run her in Fire Knight. See how she does there. This one is a little bit less reliable, I guess you would say, but we're going to go for it anyway. So, here we go. About a minute run as well, maybe a little bit longer than a minute and a half, something like that. But there we go. So right out the gate, just buffing everybody. Now if we start taking any damage, I kind of want to see. Like, I don't know if we'll take any damage on this wave. Probably. Yeah, no, we won't. Okay. We might on this wave. Although it seems like he's got no problem just clearing the wave out. Could be interesting on the Fire Knight shield. Like what it's going to look like at that point. And then we'll actually play around with her a little bit in Doom Tower. Okay. She got the buffs up again. Not yet. So we will be taking damage without the buff up right now, probably. Yep. Okay, now the buff comes up, right? So 1,200 damage. Wow, okay. That was a lot less damage than they would do normally. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So just all around, I wouldn't say use her in... Well, you probably could use her in Clan Boss if you booked her, actually, now I think about it. Damage mitigation again, right? So you could use her for that, for the increased attack. She does have some buffing capabilities there, and then res too. I don't think that's necessarily where you're going to use her. She's more for just general content, dungeon content, and then a high resist arena build, like I said. Okay, here, cool. So we got slammed down because none of the buffs were up. Let's see about the reses here. Okay, cool. And then the res and everybody's now got damage mitigation up. So, and then now she put the decreased attack up, right? So she put the decreased attack plus all the buffs. We got the damage mitigation. You saw how much less damage. So 2 slams there. The last slam just destroyed Coldheart without any damage mitigation buffs up, right? And now you can see when those damage mitigation buffs are up and the damage mitigation debuff on the Fire Knight is up too, we had a significantly reduced damage that actually made our squishies survive. So that Coldheart, under a normal circumstance, would die at that point, right? But right there, after she rezzed her and put all those buffs on, she survived. It's pretty cool, right? I'd probably sell that. Was going to sell that, but I forgot to click the sell button for him. So he can sell that. Anyway, so let's do a Doom Tower run. We shall see how she does in the Doom Tower. I think you have to have specific teams set up as well, but she runs a speed aura in Doom Tower, which is cool. All right, we're just going to go through this. I'm going to use this key for his Doom Tower run, see what happens. She got the speed again, so everybody's getting much faster speed. Plus, we're running, what's his face here, Mashalet as well. So we just have every kind of buff imaginable going on here, too. Seer would be nice right here as well. I don't know if he has Seer. All right. But we didn't even get any damage that we needed to mitigate right there. So we'll just kind of go through. We're going to go through this Doom Tower run, and then we're going to call it a video. So if you would do me a favor, if you made it this far and you found this content useful in any way, or if you have any questions or anything, make sure to put the questions in the comments below. I do my best to try to answer everybody. Just because I feel like, hey, I'm a small YouTuber. I will try my best to answer everybody. I like to interact with people on YouTube to kind of just talk things through. And if someone thinks I'm wrong or disagrees with me and everything too, I have no problem with that. Go ahead. I'm an adult. We can have an adult conversation about it, right? But like and subscribe to the channel as well. I really need your support. I really need the help to actually grow this thing, because I would like to be at 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. It's a big stretch. That's my goal. That is a big stretch, but I absolutely think it's possible. I'm going to need a lot of help, though, and a lot of momentum to do it. We're getting a lot more momentum over the last month. I'm putting in a lot more work on the channel. I'm going to keep doing that as well. I'm trying to improve my skills because I know I've got a long way and a lot of things to learn, too. But I do want to do as best job as I can to give back to the community and actually do guides and showcase things. I'm a fairly casual player like most people are too, so I have a obligations besides the job, besides I have a job, full-time family, all that stuff. So content kind of doesn't come very first for me right now. A lot of the other stuff does. Makes sense. Anyway, again, I'll leave it at that. I just really need the support. Thank you for that. All right, so we're gonna get a res here. She already had the strength enough, so she already burned through the res. I don't know if we're gonna need it on this level. So maybe because we're not quite so far up in the tower, well. The good thing is we only have 4 people left, and it is showing her damage mitigation capability with that, and her books. Oh, was there a block revive there? What happened there? There must have been. Okay, so. Anyway, we're going to call it a video there. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, like and subscribe. Leave comments down below what you think. Did you build her? Did you pull her? Hopefully, if we have something with the voids, you get her. There's probably going to be like a 10x coming in for her for this weekend is what I would think. I don't know for sure. But thank you so much. I will be back soon with more Raid Shadow Legends content.